Imagine your mind as a vast garden, a place where every thought, feeling, and action you nurture grows. What you choose to plan and cultivate in this space directly impacts the landscape of your life. Just as a garden requires care, attention, and patience, so too does your mind. If you allow negativity, bad habits, or toxic thoughts to take root, they will begin to spread, choking the life out of the positive and productive areas of your mental landscape. Like weeds in a garden, these harmful influences can grow unchecked, clouding your thoughts and overwhelming your emotional state. The next thing you know, you find yourself lost in a maze of confusion, frustration, and self-doubt, wondering how it all happened. But what if you could take control? What if 2025 could be the year you reclaim the peace and clarity that you deserve? What if this year became the turning point where you actively choose to let go of the mental clutter, the toxic habits, and the relationships that no longer serve you? What if, instead of feeling weighed down by the burdens of your past, you decided to cultivate a new mindset? A mindset that embraces growth, positivity, and resilience? In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it's easy to become distracted by external pressures, negative influences, and self-limiting beliefs. But true transformation comes not from changing everything at once, but from making small, intentional changes that accumulate over time. Today, we'll explore 11 things that you should quietly eliminate from your life. Things that, once released, will create space for peace, clarity, and emotional freedom. These aren't drastic changes, but rather subtle shifts that can lead to profound transformation. Each step you take toward eliminating these obstacles will help you clear your mental clutter, reduce your emotional stress, and stop wasting energy on things that no longer add value to your life. These changes are not about perfection, they are about progress. Life isn't about achieving perfection, and neither is mental peace. In fact, striving for perfection can often be one of the greatest barriers to inner calm. The Stoics, whose wisdom still resonates with us today, believed that the path to mastery of the mind and soul came not from grandiose efforts, but from consistent, daily practice. It was about making small, purposeful decisions each day to eliminate the distractions and mental noise that prevent you from reaching your full potential. This philosophy encourages us to let go of what no longer serves us and to embrace what truly adds value to our lives. You may be wondering, how can I begin this journey of eliminating the things that weigh me down? How can I start clearing the mental clutter that clouds my peace? The key is to approach this process with intention, patience, and a willingness to release what's no longer necessary. It won't happen overnight, and that's okay. Progress doesn't require perfection, but it does require consistent effort. In the following sections, we'll dive into 7 key areas where you can start to make these small shifts. Whether it's letting go of comparison, overcoming perfectionism, or learning how to manage your anger and negative emotions, these steps will help you cultivate a calm, focused, and resilient mind. As you work through each of these changes, remember that it's not about achieving some ideal version of yourself. It's about becoming a better version of who you already are, more aligned with your true self, more present, and more at peace with the world around you. Letting go of external validation. A Stoic perspective. Introduction. In an age dominated by social media, instant communication, and a constant barrage of opinions, the quest for external validation has become a pervasive aspect of modern life. We often find ourselves seeking approval from others, hoping that their acknowledgement will fill the void we feel within. However, this pursuit can lead to cycles of frustration, disappointment, and self-doubt. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that emphasizes rationality, self-control, and virtue, offers profound insights into the nature of validation and the importance of self-acceptance. This essay will explore the Stoic perspective on letting go of external validation, emphasizing the significance of internal validation, personal integrity, and the cultivation of resilience. The nature of external validation. Understanding external validation. External validation refers to the approval or recognition we seek from others. It can manifest in various forms, such as praise from friends, likes on social media, or accolades in our professional lives. While it is natural to desire acknowledgement from others, relying on it can lead to a precarious emotional state. When we tie our self-worth to the opinions of others, we become vulnerable to their judgments, which can be inconsistent and often unkind. The psychological impact of seeking approval. The desire for external validation can trap us in a cycle of frustration. We may find ourselves constantly seeking approval, only to be met with indifference or criticism. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Research in psychology has shown that individuals who rely heavily on external validation often experience higher levels of anxiety and lower self-esteem. The constant need for approval can create a dependency that undermines our sense of self-worth. The illusion of understanding. One of the most challenging aspects of seeking external validation is the realization that some people will never understand our pain or perspective. Each individual has their own experiences, biases, and limitations that shape their understanding of the world. When we seek validation from those who cannot empathize with our struggles, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Stoicism encourages us to recognize that the inability of others to validate our feelings reflects more about them than about us. Their lack of understanding does not diminish our experiences or emotions. The Stoic response, focusing on internal validation. The importance of self-reflection. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and self-awareness. Instead of seeking validation from others, we should turn inward and examine our own values, beliefs, and feelings. This process of introspection allows us to develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and our motivations. By cultivating self-awareness, we can learn to validate our own experiences and emotions without relying on external sources. Defining personal integrity. At the core of Stoic philosophy is the concept of personal integrity. Stoics believe that living in accordance with our values and principles is essential for a fulfilling life. When we focus on our own integrity, we become less concerned with the opinions of others. We learn to define our self-worth based on our actions and choices rather than external approval. This shift in perspective empowers us to live authentically and align our lives with our true selves. The role of virtue is a central tenet of Stoicism. The Stoics believe that living a virtuous life, characterized by wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, leads to true happiness. When we prioritize virtue over external validation, we cultivate a sense of inner peace and fulfillment. We learn to appreciate our own efforts and growth, regardless of how others perceive us. This focus on virtue allows us to navigate challenges with resilience and grace. Building resilience through Stoicism. Embracing adversity. Stoicism teaches us that adversity is an inevitable part of life. Instead of seeking validation during difficult times, we can embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. By reframing our perspective on adversity, we can develop resilience and strength. Stoics encourage us to view obstacles as tests of our character, allowing us to cultivate a sense of purpose and determination. The dichotomy of control. One of the fundamental principles of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, which distinguishes between what is within our control and what is not. We cannot control the opinions of others, but we can control our reactions and responses. By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, we free ourselves from the burden of seeking external validation. This shift in focus empowers us to take ownership of our lives and decisions. Practicing acceptance. Acceptance is a key aspect of Stoic philosophy. Instead of resisting or resenting the opinions of others, we can practice acceptance by acknowledging that we cannot change how others perceive us. This acceptance allows us to let go of the need for validation and find peace within ourselves. By embracing our own worth and experiences, we cultivate a sense of inner strength that is impervious to external judgments. 2. The power of silence. Stoicism teaches that silence can be a powerful tool for self-reflection and emotional processing. Instead of engaging in excessive dialogue about our pain, we can choose to embrace silence as a means of honoring our emotions. Silence allows us to create space for introspection, enabling us to understand our feelings without becoming entangled in the narratives we share with others. Silence as a form of dignity. When we choose to remain silent in the face of emotional turmoil, We assert our dignity and self-respect. Oversharing can sometimes lead to feelings of vulnerability and exposure, as we lay bare our innermost thoughts and feelings to others. By opting for silence, we maintain a sense of control over our narrative and protect our emotional well-being. This act of self-preservation is a fundamental aspect of Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes the importance of maintaining one's dignity in the face of adversity. The power of restraint. Stoicism teaches the value of restraint in our thoughts and actions. Restraint allows us to respond to our emotions thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. When we refrain from oversharing, we create an opportunity to process our feelings in a more constructive manner. This restraint can lead to greater emotional clarity and a deeper understanding of ourselves, ultimately facilitating healing. The dangers of oversharing: emotional entanglement. Oversharing can lead to emotional entanglement, where we become enmeshed in our pain and the opinions of others. When we share our experiences with friends, family, or social media, we invite external perspectives into our internal struggles. This can create confusion and complicate our healing process, as we may find ourselves seeking validation or approval from others rather than focusing on our own emotional journey. The cycle of rehashing. When we repeatedly share our pain, we risk falling into a cycle of rehashing our experiences. Each time we recount the details of our relationship or the reasons for its end, we may inadvertently reinforce our emotional distress. This cycle can prevent us from moving forward, as we become trapped in a narrative that keeps us tethered to the past. Stoicism encourages us to break this cycle by embracing silence and allowing ourselves the space to heal. The impact on relationships. Oversharing can also impact our relationships with others. Friends and family may feel burdened by our constant need to discuss our pain, leading to feelings of frustration or helplessness. Additionally, sharing too much about a past relationship can create discomfort for those involved, particularly if the other person is still processing their own emotions. By choosing silence, we respect not only ourselves but also the boundaries of others, fostering healthier relationships in the long run. Embracing silence as a healing practice. Creating space for reflection. Silence provides an opportunity for reflection and introspection. When we allow ourselves to sit with our emotions in silence, we create space to explore our feelings without external distractions. This practice can lead to greater self-awareness and understanding, enabling us to identify the root causes of our pain and develop strategies for healing. 3. Embracing change. A Stoic perspective on growth and adaptation. Change is an inevitable part of life. From the seasons that shift around us to the relationships that evolve and sometimes dissolve, change is a constant force that shapes our experiences. Yet, despite its inevitability, many of us find ourselves resisting change, clinging to the familiar and the comfortable. This resistance often leads to suffering, frustration, and a sense of stagnation. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that emphasizes rationality, self-control, and virtue, offers profound insights into the nature of change and the importance of embracing it as a natural part of growth. This essay will explore the Stoic perspective on change, the psychological implications of resistance, and the transformative power of acceptance. By letting go of unrealistic expectations about how relationships should unfold, we can embrace the lessons that come from adversity and learn to adapt. The nature of change. Understanding. Change can be defined as the process of becoming different or undergoing a transformation. It can occur in various forms, including personal growth, shifts in relationships, changes in circumstances, and broader societal transformations. Change can be both positive and negative, and it often elicits a range of emotional responses, from excitement and hope to fear and anxiety. The role of change in growth: change is not merely a disruption, it is also a catalyst for growth. Personal development often occurs in response to change, as we are forced to adapt, learn, and evolve. The challenges we face during times of change can lead to greater resilience, wisdom, and self-awareness. Stoicism teaches us to view change as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat to our stability. The Stoic perspective on change: acceptance of change. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is the acceptance of change as a natural part of life. Stoics believe that resisting change only leads to suffering, while acceptance allows us to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and composure. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This perspective encourages us to focus on our responses to change rather than the change itself. The dichotomy of control. A key principle of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, which distinguishes between what is within our control and what is not. We cannot control external events or the actions of others, but we can control our thoughts, attitudes, and responses. By recognizing this distinction, we can let go of the need to control change and instead focus on how we choose to respond to it. This shift in perspective empowers us to embrace change with a sense of agency and purpose. The impermanence of life. Stoicism teaches that life is inherently impermanent. Everything we experience, from our relationships to our emotions, is subject to change. This understanding of impermanence can be both liberating and daunting. By acknowledging that nothing lasts forever, we can cultivate a sense of appreciation for the present moment and the experiences we have, even as we prepare for the inevitability of change. The psychological implications of resistance. The fear of change. One of the primary reasons individuals resist change is fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of loss, and fear of failure can all contribute to a reluctance to embrace change. This fear can manifest in various ways, including anxiety, avoidance, and a desire to cling to the familiar. However, Stoicism teaches us that fear is often rooted in our perceptions rather than reality. By examining our fears and challenging our assumptions, we can begin to dismantle the barriers that prevent us from embracing change. The impact of unrealistic expectations. Another factor that contributes to resistance is the presence of unrealistic expectations. Many individuals hold preconceived notions about how relationships, careers, and life events should unfold. When reality deviates from these expectations, disappointment and frustration can ensue. Stoicism encourages us to let go of these unrealistic expectations and accept that life is often unpredictable. By adopting a more flexible mindset, we can navigate change with greater ease and resilience. The cycle of suffering. Resistance to change can create a cycle of suffering. When we cling to the past or resist the present, we may experience heightened levels of stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. This cycle can lead to a sense of stagnation, preventing us from moving forward and embracing new opportunities. Stoicism teaches us that by accepting change and letting go of resistance, we can break this cycle and open ourselves to growth and transformation. 4. Avoiding comparison, a Stoic approach to personal growth and fulfillment. In today's hyper-connected world, where social media platforms showcase curated highlights of people's lives, the temptation to compare ourselves to others has never been greater. We scroll through feeds filled with images of success, happiness, and seemingly perfect lives, often leading to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. This pervasive culture of comparison can be detrimental to our mental health and overall well-being. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that emphasizes rationality, self-control, and virtue, offers valuable insights into the nature of comparison and the importance of focusing on our own unique journeys. This essay will explore the Stoic perspective on avoiding comparison, the psychological implications of comparison, and practical strategies for fostering self-acceptance and personal growth. By recognizing that our only competition is ourselves, we can cultivate a sense of fulfillment that is independent of external validation. The nature of comparison. Understanding comparison is a natural human tendency that involves evaluating ourselves against others. It can manifest in various forms, including social, professional, and personal comparisons. While comparison can sometimes serve as a motivator for self-improvement, it often leads to negative outcomes, particularly when it becomes a habitual practice. The act of comparing ourselves to others can distort our self-perception and create unrealistic standards that are difficult to achieve. The social media effect. The rise of social media has amplified the culture of comparison. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok allow individuals to present curated versions of their lives, often highlighting achievements, vacations, and milestones. This selective sharing can create an illusion of perfection, leading viewers to believe that others are living more fulfilling lives. Research has shown that excessive social media use is linked to increased feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and depression, particularly among young people. The constant exposure to idealized representations of life can distort our self-image and contribute to a cycle of comparison. The unique journey of each individual. One of the fundamental truths about life is that each person's journey is unique. We all have different backgrounds, experiences, and circumstances that shape our paths. Stoicism teaches us to recognize and appreciate this individuality. By understanding that everyone faces their own challenges and triumphs, we can cultivate empathy and compassion rather than envy and resentment. This perspective allows us to celebrate the successes of others without diminishing our own worth. The Stoic perspective on comparison. The philosophy of Stoicism. Stoicism, founded in ancient Greece, emphasizes the importance of rationality, self-control, and virtue. Central to Stoic philosophy is the idea that we should focus on what is within our control and accept what is not. This principle can be applied to the act of comparison. We cannot control how others live their lives or the choices they make, but we can control our thoughts, attitudes, and responses. By focusing on our own growth and progress, we can cultivate a sense of fulfillment that is independent of external comparisons. The concept of the inner citadel. The Stoics believed in the concept of the inner citadel, which refers to the idea of building a strong inner self that is impervious to external influences. This inner strength allows us to remain grounded in our values and principles, regardless of the circumstances around us. By cultivating our inner citadel, we can develop resilience against the negative effects of comparison. We learn to define our self-worth based on our own actions and choices, rather than the opinions or achievements of others. The importance of self-reflection. Self-reflection is a key practice in Stoicism that allows us to examine our thoughts, beliefs, and motivations. By engaging in regular self-reflection, we can gain clarity about our values and goals. This process helps us to identify areas for growth and improvement without the need to compare ourselves to others. Stoicism encourages us to ask ourselves meaningful questions. What do I value? What are my strengths and weaknesses? How can I grow as an individual? By focusing on our own journey, we can cultivate a sense of purpose and fulfillment. The psychological implications of comparison. The impact on self-esteem. Comparison can have a profound impact on our self-esteem. When we measure our worth against others, we may find ourselves feeling inadequate or unworthy. This can lead to a negative self-image and a lack of confidence in our abilities. Research has shown that individuals who frequently engage in social comparison are more likely to experience low self-esteem and feelings of inferiority. By recognizing the detrimental effects of comparison, we can take steps to shift our focus inward and cultivate a more positive self-image. Conclusion. In a world that often promotes comparison, Stoicism offers a powerful framework for cultivating self-acceptance and personal growth. By recognizing that our only competition is ourselves, we can shift our focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. Embracing our unique journeys, setting personal goals, practicing gratitude, and surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals are all strategies that can help us avoid the pitfalls of comparison. Ultimately, by adopting a Stoic perspective, we can find contentment in our own experiences and cultivate a sense of fulfillment that is independent of the achievements of others. In doing so, we can lead more meaningful and authentic lives grounded in our values and aspirations. The dangers of perfectionism. A Stoic perspective on relationships and growth. In a world that often glorifies success and achievement, the pursuit of perfection can become a double-edged sword. While striving for excellence can motivate us to improve and reach our goals, perfectionism can also lead to paralysis, dissatisfaction, and fear of failure, particularly in our relationships. The pressure to be perfect can create unrealistic expectations, both for ourselves and for those we care about, ultimately hindering our ability to connect authentically with others. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that emphasizes rationality, self-control, and virtue, offers valuable insights into the nature of perfectionism and the importance of embracing imperfection. This essay will explore the dangers of perfectionism, the Stoic perspective on mistakes and growth, and practical strategies for cultivating healthier relationships and a more fulfilling love life by focusing on effort rather than outcomes. Understanding perfectionism. Defining perfectionism. Perfectionism can be defined as a personality trait characterized by a relentless pursuit of flawlessness and high standards, often accompanied by critical self-evaluations and concerns about others' evaluations. Perfectionists tend to set excessively high goals for themselves and may experience significant distress when they fail to meet these standards. This trait can manifest in various areas of life, including work, academics, and relationships. The roots of perfectionism often stems from a combination of factors, including upbringing, societal expectations, and personal experiences. Many perfectionists are driven by a fear of failure or rejection, leading them to believe that their worth is contingent upon their achievements. This belief can be reinforced by external pressures, such as parental expectations, cultural norms, and the pervasive influence of social media, where curated images of success and happiness abound. The paradox of perfectionism. While striving for excellence can lead to positive outcomes, perfectionism often has the opposite effect. The paradox of perfectionism lies in the fact that the pursuit of flawlessness can lead to increased anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. Perfectionists may find themselves constantly chasing an unattainable ideal, leading to feelings of inadequacy and frustration. This cycle can create a barrier to genuine connection and fulfillment in relationships. The dangers of perfectionism in relationships. The fear of vulnerability. One of the most significant dangers of perfectionism in relationships is the fear of vulnerability. Perfectionists often struggle to open up and share their true selves with others, fearing that their imperfections will be judged or rejected. This fear can create emotional distance and hinder intimacy, preventing the development of deep, meaningful connections. Stoicism teaches us that vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. By embracing our imperfections and allowing ourselves to be seen, we can foster authentic relationships built on trust and understanding. The cycle of self-criticism. Perfectionists often engage in harsh self-criticism, which can have detrimental effects on their relationships. When we are overly critical of ourselves, we may project those feelings onto our partners, leading to a cycle of blame and dissatisfaction. This self-critical mindset can create a toxic environment where both partners feel inadequate and unworthy. Stoicism teaches us to practice self-compassion and to view mistakes as opportunities for growth rather than as failures. By cultivating a more forgiving attitude toward ourselves, we can create a healthier dynamic in our relationships. The Stoic perspective on mistakes and growth. Embracing imperfection. Stoicism teaches us that imperfection is an inherent part of the human experience. Rather than striving for flawlessness, we can embrace our imperfections as opportunities for growth and learning. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This perspective encourages us to view challenges and mistakes as valuable lessons that can help us develop resilience and wisdom. The role of mistakes in personal growth. Mistakes are an essential part of the learning process. When we make mistakes, we have the opportunity to reflect, adapt, and grow. Stoicism encourages us to view failures not as setbacks, but as stepping stones on our journey towards self-improvement. By acknowledging our mistakes and taking responsibility for them, we can cultivate a growth mindset that fosters resilience and adaptability. This mindset allows us to approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear, ultimately leading to greater personal development and healthier relationships. The importance of effort over outcomes. One of the key tenets of Stoicism is the distinction between what is within our control and what is not. While we cannot control the outcomes of our actions, we can control the effort we put into them. By focusing on our efforts rather than the results, we can alleviate the pressure of perfectionism. This shift in perspective allows us to appreciate the journey rather than fixating on the destination. In relationships, this means valuing the time and energy we invest in our connections, regardless of the specific outcomes. By prioritizing effort, we can cultivate a sense of fulfillment that is rooted in our intentions and actions. Practical strategies for overcoming perfectionism. Cultivating self-compassion. Practicing self-compassion is essential for overcoming perfectionism. This involves treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, especially when we make mistakes. Instead of harshly judging ourselves, we can acknowledge our feelings and remind ourselves that imperfection is a shared human experience. Engaging in self-compassionate practices, such as positive self-talk and mindfulness, can help us develop a more forgiving attitude toward ourselves and reduce the negative impact of perfectionism on our relationships. Perfectionism can pose significant challenges in our relationships, leading to dissatisfaction, fear of vulnerability, and unrealistic expectations. However, by adopting a Stoic perspective that emphasizes the value of imperfection, effort, and personal growth, we can cultivate healthier connections in a more fulfilling love life. Embracing our mistakes as opportunities for learning, practicing self-compassion, and focusing on effort rather than outcomes are essential strategies for overcoming the dangers of perfectionism. Ultimately, by letting go of the pursuit of flawlessness and embracing our authentic selves, we can foster deeper connections and lead more meaningful lives grounded in love and understanding. 6. The importance of self-control. Self-control is a cornerstone of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to master our emotions rather than be controlled by them. Among the many emotions we encounter, anger and frustration stand out as two of the most destructive forces in human relationships. These emotions, when unchecked, can lead to rash decisions, damaged connections, and lasting regret. By emphasizing self-control, Stoicism provides a framework for managing these feelings in a way that fosters understanding, patience, and harmony. Understanding anger and frustration. Anger is an intense emotional response to perceived wrongs, often arising from unmet expectations, injustices, or disrespect. It is a natural reaction, but one that can easily spiral out of control. Frustration, on the other hand, often stems from a feeling of helplessness or being thwarted in achieving a goal. While these emotions are normal, their unregulated expressions can derail relationships, impede personal growth, and create a cycle of negativity. Stoicism teaches us that the key to breaking this cycle lies in understanding the origins of these emotions and developing the ability to respond to them wisely. The Stoic approach to self-control. The Stoic approach to self-control begins with the acknowledgement that while we cannot always control external events, we can control our reactions to them. This principle, articulated by philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, underscores the importance of distinguishing between what is within our power and what is not. Anger and frustration often result from our attempts to control the uncontrollable. By redirecting our focus to our own thoughts and actions, we reclaim our agency and reduce the influence of external triggers. One of the most effective Stoic practices for cultivating self-control is the habit of pausing before reacting. This pause creates a critical space for reflection, allowing us to assess the situation with clarity. During this pause, we can ask ourselves questions such as, is my anger justified? What is the root cause of my frustration? And how can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? This deliberate approach helps us transition from impulsive reactions to intentional actions, strengthening our emotional resilience. The ripple effects of self-control. The benefits of self-control extend far beyond personal emotional management. A composed demeanor fosters trust and respect, making others more likely to view us as reliable and thoughtful individuals. This quality is particularly valuable in interpersonal relationships, where emotional outbursts can erode goodwill and understanding. By demonstrating self-control, we set a positive example for others, encouraging them to approach conflicts with patience and reason. Moreover, self-control enhances communication. When we temper our emotions, we can articulate our thoughts more clearly and listen more attentively. This creates an environment where constructive dialogue can thrive, reducing misunderstandings and fostering deeper connections. In this way, self-control not only mitigates the immediate effects of anger and frustration, but also builds a foundation for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Self-control as a path to personal growth. Practicing self-control is not about suppressing emotions entirely. Rather, it is about channeling them in a way that aligns with our higher values and long-term goals. Anger and frustration, when managed effectively, can even become sources of insight and motivation. For example, feelings of anger might reveal areas where we feel our boundaries have been violated, prompting us to assert ourselves more effectively. Similarly, frustration can highlight obstacles that require creative problem solving or a shift in perspective. Stoicism encourages us to view challenges as opportunities for growth. Each instance of anger or frustration presents a chance to practice self-control, strengthening our ability to remain composed in future situations. Over time, this discipline fosters a sense of inner peace and confidence, enabling us to face life's uncertainties with grace and resilience. Self-control in practice. Applying self-control in daily life involves a combination of mindfulness, reflection, and deliberate action. Here are some practical steps to integrate Stoic principles into our responses to anger and frustration. Pause and breathe. When faced with a triggering situation, take a moment to pause and focus on your breath. This simple act can help calm your nervous system and create the mental space needed for reflection. Examine your expectations. Consider whether your expectations of the situation or person were realistic. Often, anger and frustration arise from expecting others to behave in a certain way or situations to unfold according to our desires. Adjusting these expectations can reduce emotional turmoil. Practice empathy. Try to understand the perspective of the other person involved. What might be motivating their behavior? Empathy can diffuse anger and open the door to more constructive interactions. Choose your response. Reflect on your values and long-term goals. How can you respond in a way that aligns with them? This might mean addressing the issue calmly, walking away to cool off, or choosing to let go entirely. Learn from the experience. After the situation has passed, take time to reflect on what triggered your emotions and how you handled them. What worked well? What could you do differently next time? This process of self-assessment is crucial for growth. The broader implications of self-control. Self-control is not just a personal virtue. It has profound implications for society as a whole. In a world often characterized by impulsivity and conflict, individuals who embody self-control can serve as beacons of stability and reason. Their ability to remain calm under pressure and respond thoughtfully to challenges can inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that fosters greater harmony and understanding within communities. Furthermore, self-control is essential for addressing larger societal issues. Many of the world's conflicts, from interpersonal disputes to geopolitical tensions, are fueled by unbridled emotions. By promoting the practice of self-control on a broader scale, we can contribute to a more peaceful and compassionate world. The transformative power of self-control. The practice of self-control is transformative, not only in its immediate effects, but also in its cumulative impact over time. Each instance of choosing reason over impulse strengthens our character, enhancing our ability to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and poise. As we cultivate self-control, we become more attuned to our emotions and better equipped to manage them, leading to a deeper sense of self-awareness and fulfillment. In the context of Stoicism, self-control is more than a tool for managing emotions. It is a path to living a virtuous and meaningful life. By aligning our actions with our values and focusing on what we can control, we free ourselves from the tyranny of external circumstances. This freedom allows us to pursue our goals with clarity and purpose, fostering a sense of inner peace that remains steadfast even in the face of adversity. 7. Building integrity. Integrity is the foundation of a life well lived, a guiding principle that reflects our true character through our words and actions. In the Stoic tradition, integrity is not merely about adhering to societal norms or external expectations, but about aligning one's behavior with inner values and virtues. It demands consistency, authenticity, and a commitment to doing what is right, even when it is inconvenient or difficult. By cultivating integrity, we strengthen our relationships, enhance our self-respect, and foster an environment of trust and positivity. The impact of words and actions on integrity. Our words carry immense weight, shaping how others perceive us and influencing the dynamics of our relationships. Engaging in gossip or negative talk, though often tempting, undermines our integrity and distracts us from our greater purpose. Gossip thrives on speculation, judgment, and the detriment of others, creating a culture of distrust and negativity. When we participate in such behavior, we not only harm the subject of the gossip, but also diminish our own credibility and respectability. Negative talk, whether aimed at others or ourselves, reinforces a mindset of criticism and cynicism, detracting from our ability to engage meaningfully with the world. Actions, too, are powerful indicators of integrity. While words can inspire or soothe, actions solidify our intentions and demonstrate our true priorities. Inconsistencies between what we say and what we do can erode trust, both in our relationships and within ourselves. For example, pledging support but failing to follow through, or advocating for virtues we do not practice, signals a lack of authenticity. Conversely, aligning our actions with our words builds a solid reputation for reliability and trustworthiness, laying the groundwork for meaningful connections and lasting respect. The Stoic perspective on integrity. From a Stoic perspective, integrity involves living in harmony with our core principles, such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues serve as a compass, guiding our decisions and interactions. Integrity is not about perfection, but about striving for consistency and authenticity. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's most renowned thinkers, emphasized the importance of being true to oneself, stating, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This call to action underscores the necessity of aligning our thoughts, words, and deeds with our higher ideals. The role of intention in building integrity. Speaking with intention is a practice rooted in mindfulness and self-awareness. Before we speak, it is valuable to consider the purpose of our words. Are they intended to uplift, inform, or solve a problem? Or are they driven by impulse, frustration, or a desire to criticize? By choosing words that reflect kindness and sincerity, we create an environment of positivity and mutual respect. This practice not only enhances our relationships, but also strengthens our internal sense of integrity as we act in accordance with our values. Similarly, acting with intention involves thoughtful consideration of the consequences of our actions. This means asking ourselves questions like, does this action align with my values? Will it contribute positively to my goals or the well-being of others? Such reflection helps us navigate challenges and opportunities with greater clarity, ensuring that our actions reinforce, rather than compromise, our integrity. The benefits of integrity. Building integrity offers profound benefits, both personal and social. On an individual level, integrity fosters self-respect and inner peace. When our actions align with our values, we experience a sense of coherence and authenticity that strengthens our confidence and resilience. We become less susceptible to external pressures and more attuned to our own sense of purpose, enabling us to navigate life with greater clarity and conviction. In our relationships, integrity cultivates trust and admiration. People are naturally drawn to those who demonstrate honesty, reliability, and a commitment to doing what is right. By speaking and acting with intention, we set a positive example for others, encouraging them to do the same. This creates a ripple effect, fostering a culture of respect, kindness, and accountability within our communities. On a broader scale, integrity contributes to societal harmony and progress. When individuals and institutions uphold principles of honesty and justice, they build systems that promote fairness, inclusivity, and collective well-being. Integrity, therefore, is not only a personal virtue, but a cornerstone of a thriving society. Overcoming challenges to integrity. Maintaining integrity is not always easy. In a world filled with competing demands, temptations, and uncertainties, it can be challenging to consistently align our actions with our values. Fear, insecurity, and external pressures often lead us to compromise our principles, even when we know better. However, Stoicism offers practical tools for overcoming these challenges. One such tool is the practice of self-reflection. Regularly taking time to evaluate our thoughts, words, and actions helps us identify areas where we may have strayed from our values. This practice is not about self-criticism, but about learning and growth. By acknowledging our mistakes and committing to improvement, we strengthen our resolve and deepen our integrity. Another key practice is cultivating resilience. Integrity often requires courage, particularly when standing up for what is right involves personal sacrifice or conflict. By embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, we develop the strength to uphold our principles, even in the face of adversity. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts and actions, and to let go of the fear of external consequences. This perspective empowers us to act with conviction and authenticity, regardless of the circumstances. Integrity is a lifelong practice. Building and maintaining integrity is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing journey. It requires continuous effort, mindfulness, and a willingness to learn from our experiences. Each interaction, decision, and challenge presents an opportunity to practice integrity, reinforcing our commitment to living in alignment with our values. In this journey, small, consistent actions matter as much as grand gestures. Simple practices, such as keeping our promises, admitting our mistakes, and speaking kindly, contribute to a strong foundation of integrity. Over time, these habits become ingrained, shaping our character and influencing the world around us in positive ways. Conclusion: cultivating a fulfilling love life with Stoicism. The Stoic approach to cultivating a fulfilling love life centers on self-awareness, intentionality, and resilience. By focusing on what we can control, our actions, thoughts, and values, and releasing what doesn't serve us, we can foster meaningful relationships that reflect our true selves. This philosophy challenges us to let go of attachments that don't align with our well-being, creating space for genuine connections rooted in respect and shared principles. Central to this practice is aligning relationships with our values. When we prioritize inner virtues over external factors like status or appearances, we ensure that our relationships are authentic and enriching. Such clarity not only helps us choose compatible partners, but also enables us to sustain healthier and more purposeful connections. Stoicism teaches us to embrace the transient nature of love, understanding that its evolution offers opportunities for personal growth. By accepting change with grace, we remain grounded and resilient through the joys and challenges of relationships. Intentionality plays a key role in shaping a love life aligned with our values. By making mindful choices in communication, conflict resolution, and nurturing relationships, we build trust and respect. This intentional approach helps us invest time and energy in meaningful connections, fostering bonds that are both stable and enduring. Similarly, self-discipline is crucial, guiding us to manage emotions, maintain commitments, and balance personal needs with those of our partners. Through patience and composure, we navigate conflicts constructively, creating opportunities for mutual growth. At its heart, Stoicism encourages the cultivation of inner strength. This self-awareness, rooted in self-respect and discipline, defines our capacity for love. It allows us to approach relationships authentically, overcoming challenges with wisdom and grace. Ultimately, Stoic principles guide us toward relationships that are both meaningful and resilient, enriching our lives and those of our partners. By cultivating this inner strength, we empower ourselves to love deeply and sustainably, creating connections that endure and transform.